Hello, 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 my friends. It's Jen here, and I'm an intuitive wellness coach who helps highly sensitive women to build their inner awareness as well as simplify healthy eating so that they can increase their energy and feel their absolute best. Don't mind Kaya, she is being a little bit sassy today and demanding food right now. So, today I am going to be talking about the steps that I take when I start to feel like I am in overwhelm. So, I find this time of year to be fairly stressful, and because there's a lot of things going on, I've found myself feeling a bit overwhelmed. So, this is kind of the process that I take myself through. And I thought that it might be helpful for other people as well. So the first thing I do when I start to feel stressed and overwhelmed is I make sure that I take extra time alone. And this is just to kind of cut the outside noise and allow me to focus within and see kind of what's going on. Hello, I'm talking about, I'm sharing my process today about how I kind of go through this process that I go through when I start to feel overwhelmed. So I thought I'd share that with you today. So I was saying that the first thing that I do is I take time to spend alone. This allows me to kind of feel what's going on. And I do this either meditation, go for a walk, journaling sometimes. And it just allows me to take that time to reflect, kind of see what I'm feeling, and if there's any feelings or emotions that are coming up that maybe I'm not wanting to deal with. And, I try to approach it with non-judgment, So often there are certain emotions sometimes where we can judge ourselves for feeling them, whether it's, angry, jealousy, frustration, all emotions are a part of the human experience, and we're going to feel them at some time in our lives. And I think as women especially, we're really hard on ourselves when we feel certain emotions because we're taught that they're not okay. And so what I've tried to do is bring non-judgment into the experience, some curiosity, and I try to show myself compassion because, for me, the Christmas time isn't the same as it is for other people. For me, it's fairly stressful, and there's a lot of, past memories and things that kind of come up, and so it can be easy for me to get overwhelmed and stressed, and very typical this time of year. And I always forget that until I get to near the end of the year, and then it starts to hit me. So bringing in curiosity and compassion and non-judgment. So taking that time alone to kind of feel what I'm feeling, to process it if needed, but also just to allow it to be there. Because one of the things that I found that's been super helpful, and I learned this with my coach, is when there are certain emotions, or all emotions, but the ones especially that we may not want to deal with, like anger and jealousy or even judgment, when we judge, we notice that we're judging other people more, is to approach it with compassion and curiosity, and to not judge ourselves for having those emotions or those feelings, and then to open the space for it and say, this is here and that is okay. So I am angry right now, I am frustrated right now, I'm feeling very judgmental right now, and that is okay. I'm allowing myself to feel it and to experience it, and not necessarily to react to it, because it's not about, so many times when we repress them and push them down, that's where we become reactive to other people, and when we can become harmful and maybe lashing out to other people. What I'm talking about is when we feel it, we allow ourselves to feel it, allow ourselves to experience it, and then by allowing that and showing compassion to ourselves, it just allows it to be released in its own natural way without that reactivity being on top of it. So taking time alone, processing kind of what's going on underneath all of that overwhelm. The second thing that I do is I start to evaluate what's going on in my life. What's going on, the different moving pieces, what's stressing me out, what's bringing me joy, what's really not bringing me joy, maybe also and the focus is mainly what is unnecessary. So in this way, I focus on what I'm not enjoying, and out of the things that I'm not enjoying, are there any things I have to do, and are there any things that I really don't need to do? And then the third part of it is to simplify. So out of all those things that I've kind of evaluated what's going on, what can I cut out? What in that can I simplify? So if I can't cut it out, how can I simplify it, make it easier for myself? So an example of this is this year I'm cooking dinner for my family, and it's a plant-based dinner. And last year it didn't turn out quite as well as I would have I wanted it to. Okay, and so I have a lot of judgment going along about myself, and a lot of expectations that I'm having for myself around what I want to change this year, and I want people to enjoy it. So there's judgment for myself because last year it didn't turn out. And then there's the expectations of what I want it to be. Hello, Vanessa. So glad to have you here. Today I'm talking about how to work through overwhelm, or how I work through overwhelm. And I thought it might be helpful for some other people around this time of year. And right now I'm at the third point, which is simplifying things. So I kind of lost my train of thought there. Anyway, so, there's a lot of judgment and expectations for myself around cooking this plant-based dinner for my family. And so, one, I had to look at it and say, I need to let go of the judgment, first of all. Second of all, I need to let go of the expectations. And then third, what can I do to simplify? So I don't need to make everything from scratch. I don't need to make this huge complicated meal. What can I do to simplify? So, I decided there was one main thing that I wanted to keep that is a little bit more complicated. It's a veggie loaf. And I'm going to make that with gravy. And then, I'm going to do these smashed potatoes, which are really simple. They're just, those little small potatoes, and you smash them and bake them. And then I'm going to have some toppings for those. And then I'm going to make, I think, Brussels sprouts baked in the oven with some garlic. And so keeping that simple. The other thing I decided was I'm going to simplify. Instead of making a dessert, I bought some pre-made brownie mix and some plant-based ice cream, or some vegan ice cream. And I decided that's how I'm going to simplify things, because I was feeling so overwhelmed with the idea of cooking all of these individual things and all the time that it was going to take me. And I had this expectation of myself that I had to do it in that way. And so allowing myself, to take away that judgment and seeing how I could simplify the situation. Because really, in this situation, and I find many in situations where I find myself being overwhelmed, it's usually because I have these high expectations for myself. Not because other people have these expectations, it's because I have them for myself. And so by taking those away and seeing how I can deconstruct those, and, what can I change to make things more simple? And in the situation where things aren't, there's also situations where maybe you can delegate, let go of certain things. Maybe I didn't have to bring dessert. Maybe I could have asked my brother to bring dessert or something like that. So there's different ways that you can simplify the situation to make it a little easier. The other thing I could have done is actually I could have ordered takeout if I was really, really stressed. So, when I started to look at the situation, I realized that I was creating the overwhelm, creating the expectations, and there was a way out of it. I just had to kind of take the time to be by myself, evaluate kind of what was going on and what I could commit to. Also, what did I want to commit to? So if making the dinner didn't bring me joy, the idea of cooking for my family didn't bring me joy, I probably would have gone for the takeout idea. But in this way, I did want to share, what I've been practicing and my love of cooking with them. So I decided to still make it. I just simplified it a little bit. And that's my process. Kaya. So that's my process of how I went through the overwhelm and how I kind of processed it and went through it. I hope that helps other people. If you are feeling overwhelmed this holiday season, I hope that you can, put into practice some of this. Kaya is a little restless. I'm going to have to take her for a walk. And, I'd love to hear from you if you have anything that helps you as well when you're in overwhelm and what you think about that. So definitely comment me or message me. I would love to hear from you. And that's it tonight. I will mention, if you're looking for more ideas about how to improve your energy and to simplify healthy eating, healthy living, and you're wondering what to do next, these are some of the things you can do. Number one, you can tune in for the rest of December where I'll be going over different things. Like today I was talking about my experience with overwhelm, but I can talk about anything from plant-based diets to how to simplify healthy eating, about, self-care and all of that stuff. So definitely tune in. Over the month of December, I'll be doing one live a day around this time between 8 and 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The second thing you can do is make sure that you take time each day to reflect on how you're feeling. And this is so important because, like my situation here, if you don't recognize where these feelings are coming from, you can't approach it and, figure out a way around it. And so the way that I suggest people do this is just by taking time and building that connection with yourself again. I spent so many years where I was disconnected from my body and from my feelings and all of that. So it's taken me practice to start reconnecting. And the way that I did that was taking time out of my day or throughout my day. I usually do it multiple times a day where I reflect on how I'm feeling, where I feel it in my body, what's going on, where do I feel tension, what sensations are going on in my body, how do I feel after I eat, all of those things. And it allows me to find what fuels me, what doesn't feel so good, what am I not, what doesn't my body want to eat today, things like that. And so I suggest everybody do that to start bringing that self-awareness and building that self-awareness because it's so important to everyone's health journey. And lastly, if you feel that you need help, for the month of December, I'm offering free 15-minute holistic health assessments. This is completely free, and it's where I answer one of your health-related questions in the 15 minutes, just between us, one-on-one. And the guidelines are on the booking page if you're interested in that. And if you'd like to do that, you just click on the bio, on my profile bio, and it'll take you to a link where you can, and you just click free 15-minute health assessment. And you can do that. And I'd love to chat with you. And that is all for today. I will be back tomorrow. I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their night.